Hello pilots and ground crew, welcome back to my channel again. Well, this is part 3, which means we're setting up the software in Betaerflight, which I forgot to mention this particular in part 2. The particular board actually runs with iNav or Betaerflight. So yeah, pretty snazzy board. Right, if you've just clicked on this and you're wondering what the hell's going on, it's a 3-part video. They're all going to be extremely long. Part 1 and 2 was way over an hour. And I'm trying to go into as much detail as possible for the brand new pilots who's just getting into this hobby. Alright, so if you're already into flying and stuff, you won't want to watch this. Okay then, right, there'll be links in the description to part 1 and part 2. So moving on then, if you're following along, let's plug the quad in and set up Betaerflight. Right, now I'm not going to cover every single setting in Betaerflight. This would be about a 15-hour video if I did that. Right, not to mention there's things in here that even I don't understand. Right. It can be very daunting. There is a lot in Betaerflight. What I'm trying to do is for the brand new pilot, get you into the air, right, with 1 or 2 extra little functions. Now the first thing I recommend you do, right, is what's called flashing. Oh, I'll tell you what, we'll just calibrate this, which means level it out. Put your quad on a flat surface and press this top left button to calibrate, and it levels out like that, which means it'll be level for when you go out flying. Okay. Right, the first thing I expect, I don't have to do this, right, but you want to update your firmware. Alright, but before you do that, before you go near the update firmware, alright, you want to go to your command line here, right, and you can just clear this bit here by clear output history. And there's different ways of doing this, but just type in the word dump, D-U-M-P, and hit enter, and you'll see loads and loads and loads of information come up. Alright, what you need to do, alright, because it's got everything you need on there, what you need to do is copy it here, copy it, save it somewhere for emergencies, just save it on a folder, save it on a file, just save it somewhere, because after you've done your firmware update you have to put that back in again. Now I'm not going to show you that. Once again, link in the video description, because I've already made a video about this, but I just wanted to just wanted to tell you again. Right, back to this setup. Right, we've done that bit. Right, the next one will be ports. Alright, oh that was handy. I set my transmitter up, right, on UARC1, if you remember, TX1 and RX1. Right, I'll just double check that. Yes, I've just double checked it, and yes I did. TX1 and RX1, which is UARC1. Right, and you need to hit serial RX, activate that little button there. Right, that's your transmitter. Okay, and we put it on TX1 RX1, which is this UARC1, and you hit that little button there. Now on this side, this configuration, don't touch that top one, never touch the top one, always leave that on. Right, but we put the crossfire, no we didn't, this is where the crossfire went. We put the Vista, right, we wired it up to TX3 RX3, which is this one here, UARC3, and we turn that on to get the telemetry and everything. And that's all you have to do on that page, nothing else. Where your transmitter went, which was number 1, where your Vista went, which was number 3 in our case, and that's it, and just save and reboot. Right, now to the, we'll double check that, yeah, just checking it's still there. Now to the configurations. Right, first of all, check here. Oh, I'll tell you what, something we missed, back to setup. When you first plug your quad in here, pick up your quad, right, which I've got my quad in my hand now, that's why that picture's moving. If I tilt my quad forward, the picture goes forward, backwards, it goes backwards, left and to the right. Okay, so that is perfect because that's exactly what it's meant to do. Now, if it didn't do that, for argument's sake, if you push your quad forward and it went backwards or whichever, this is where you come into your configurations tab here. And this is where you change and mess about. I'm not going into it. Look, there's a little bit of information there. Right? All it is just change the degrees and the pitch and the rolls and the yaws and just mess about with it until you get it to react the same way. As in, you move your quad forward, the picture goes forward. You move your quad to the right, the picture moves to the right. Just mess about with that, right? I'm not going to go into that. It's self-explanatory. Up here, this is where you select. How can I explain this? Yeah, it's this way. It says D-Shot 600, and if I hit the drop-down box, you've got like PWA, man. All these little settings, all these things, all the way down to ProShot 1000, right? What they actually represent is speeds of, how can I keep this simple? Speeds of signal going in and out of your ESC, telling your motors what to do. Yeah, that's about right. But that is very, very simply explained. Okay. Now, my particular ESC, it'll run ProShot 1200, which isn't even out yet on here. Right? But, however, because I'm setting up bidirectional D-Shot, I'm only setting it up on D-Shot 600. Right? I'll explain why in a minute. Actually, between D-Shot 600 and D-Shot 1200, right, or ProShot, there's not a lot in it, right? Because how can I explain? I'm getting off topic. It's because of the software capabilities. There's not a lot in it, right? But I'm not going to go into that. That is really getting technical, and I don't want it. This is for new pilots. Okay, right. Dropping down. Motor stop. Right, this is one where a lot of people get mixed up about. What this is, when you power on your quad, you turn your transmitter on, you power on your quad, you plug the battery in and the motor starts spinning. Alright, once you actually turn your transmitter, I'm going to rephrase that, I'm not going to edit it. You plug your quad in, you've got your transmitter turned on, and you hit your power switch on your transmitter to power up your quad. Your motors will start spinning straight away. However, if you press this button, have it activated, motor stop, that means your motors will not start to spin until you touch the throttle. Okay? I'm not going to go over it again. That's as self-explanatory as I can make it. Right, coming down here to the left-hand side, right? What you need to do here, alright, is set a good rate, and how can I explain this simply? Set a good rate. I'll tell you what, here you go. I'm going to set this to 8K and 8K, right? That's your gyro update frequency and your PID loop frequency. It's information being sent to keep your quad flying nice, shall we say. We'll keep, cause trying to keep this simple. Now, is that best for your particular flight control board? Well, there is a way of finding out. Because I've set that to 8 and 8, if I save and reboot, now go down to the command line. This is how you can test if it'll be good for your quad. Now in this command line, I'm not a great typist, but if you type the word tasks, TASKS, hit enter, and now you're looking up here for gyro, filter and PID. Them three things, gyro, filter and PID. Now we set them to 8K, 8K. Now this is 8,000, 8,000, 8,000. So it's lining up perfectly. Alright. Now if one of them might have said 2,000, 8K 2000, 8K, you know what I mean? If they didn't line up perfectly like that, right, you know that that setting you did needs to be adjusted. Now, let's just go back to it. So I'm trying to keep this simple. Unfortunately, in Betaerflight, there's so many little details that you can get mixed up on. When in doubt, right, this 8K is locked in. Right, when in doubt, set this to 4K. If you're not sure. If you're not sure, when in doubt, just leave it on 4K. Or you can do it on 8K, like, and do that test I just did. The other settings start to get more complicated, and I don't want to go into that. I'm trying to keep this simple, because I'm doing this video based on the premise you're building a 5-inch quad, not a micro, and you're following along. Okay, so I don't want to get too technical. Over here, your arm in, right, that's a safety feature, so that if your quad is in your hand, if you touch your arm in button on the transmitter, it will not arm unless it's at a certain angle. Alright, now to deactivate that, because if your quad's stuck in a tree, you want to arm your quad, spin the motors and check it out the tree. It won't while it's set at this particular angle. So just here, we set that to 180. Alright, that's what that wants to be set on. And now your quad will arm, alright, at any position it's in. Okay, so be careful. Down here we need to set for the transmitter. These things, craft name and stuff, that's up to you. Is to put your name on the screen. I never bloody bother. And camera angle, I never bother with them. I don't know many people that do. Here, right, your transmitter. I'm using the Tango, right, but the bottom line is here. You'd select serial based receiver, right, because you're not, these are pretty much obsolete now, but serial based receiver, right, and because I'm using Crossfire, I'll go down and find Crossfire, right, which is CRSF, Crossfire, scroll down a bit more, right, RSSI, because I'm using the Vista unit, I'm going to leave that turned on. Now, on any other quadcopter, I would turn that off and I would be using LQ, link quality, but you can't get that on the Caddx Vista units at the moment, so we want at least RSSI, so that'll be on. Alright. Don't need 3D or GPS or out like that. Down here, telemetry, you'll want on. LEDs, no for me. Air mode, no. I have that on a switch. Alright, so I can turn it on and off. Alright, what air mode is, new pilots, when you drop your throttle to 0, your propellers will still keep spinning. Okay, which is great if you're doing a great big loop or roll. It kind of helps balance the air pressure out, basically. Okay, but no, I put that on a switch, so I can turn it on and off depending on what's happening. OSD, yes, that's your on-screen display. You'll need to set that up. Dynamic filtering, God, just turn it on. Always have it on, right? It will help your quad fly better. Alright, this here, which is something I might need, this is if you haven't got a buzzer in your quad. I'm determined, if you watch part 2, I'm determined to fit a buzzer into this bloody thing, even if it kills me. And basically, it makes your motors beep, right? But I'm leaving them turned off, right? Now you've got a whole mess, right? A whole mess of warning beeps that go off. This is what I do. You can go through and read these yourself, but all it is warning beeps. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm just going to turn off what I turn off and tell you what I leave on. I leave on RX lost, which speaks for itself here. Beeps when TX, which is the transmitter, is turned off or signal lost. Okay, so if your transmitter loses its signal, the drone will start beeping. So I have that one on. I turn the rest of these off. I'll leave that one. I'll just leave it. I'll leave this one RX here. I'll leave RX on so I can actually set a switch on my transmitter to make the buzzer beep. Okay. In case lost it in deep grass, I press a switch on the transmitter and it beeps. The rest of these, right, I just turn off. I don't use any of them. Right, don't use any of them. If you want, you can leave them all on. Right, now we're at the bottom of the page, so don't forget to save and reboot, or all them settings, all this stuff you've changed, right, will vanish. Will set to default. So save and reboot after everything. Right, moving on. Failsafes. Because I'm not using a GPS, I just want it to drop out of the sky, so I'm not even going to touch that. If in the future I install a GPS, then I might link you now to another video about setting up the GPS, but you can find videos about setting up. But I'm in this build, we're not putting a GPS on it, so it's just on drop. But in case anyone's worrying about my Vista unit overheating, I said at the end of part 2, I'm lucky my Vista unit has got a plug, a JST plug into the flight control board. I have unplugged the Vista unit to do these settings, so there's zero power going to the Vista unit. And I advise you, right, when setting up a new flight control board and a new Vista together, do not wire up your positive wire, your live wire from your Vista to your flight control board until you've gone through all these Betaerflight settings, because the Vista does get hot, so just leave it undone. PID tuning we will come back to. Don't want to get too complicated just yet, we'll come back to it. Alright, receiver, we'll do this now. Where's my receiver? Turn my receiver on. Welcome to Tango 2. Right, now with this one, I'm going to have to plug in a bloody battery. And see what we see. Right, nothing's happening because I'm going to have to bind my receiver to my transmitter. I thought I'd already done it actually, but I haven't. So I'm going to have to bind my receiver to my transmitter. Link in the video description of how to do that if you don't know. And I'll come back. So a quick jump shot. Okay then, right. No, I had in the previous video said I'd bound my transmitter already to the receiver in the quad, which as it happens I'd already done, but since then I've updated the firmware on my transmitter and I had to update the firmware on my receiver, so it meant I had to rebind it again. I can't go into that because I don't know which receiver you're going to be using. If you're going to be using Crossfire, right, send us an email, right, and I'll be happy to send you links or tell you what to do or anything for setting up your Crossfire. But I can't tell you how to bind your receiver out like that because I don't know what transmitter you will be using. However, I have bound my transmitter up, so in that case we'll get back to where we was then. So I've turned my transmitter on and now I'm going to plug in a battery to the quad, and you can see we've got bells and whistles going off everywhere. Alright, now what you need to do here is push your throttle stick all the way to the bottom and to the left. Alright, bottom left. Now you'll see that that's your throttle, the one moving up and down now. Right, well first of all check that everything's working right. You'll see it's raw on the left hand side. You can see it here, brand new pilots, remember, you can see it here, throttle, so throttle down, throttle middle, throttle up, so that's working. Yaw is when you move the throttle to the left, yeah, to the right, yeah. Pitch switch. The next one up is when you push your stick forward, which would, I've set this is set up in mode 2, it's the most common, you'll probably be using it. So now we're on to the stick on the right hand side, push it up, that bar goes up, push it down, that bar goes down. Same stick, push it to the left, push it to the right. So that's all working great. You can try your buttons, press a button, yeah, that moved, press another button, that moved, press another button. Yeah, pressing all my buttons, everything's working, every button on my transmitter is working. If you're interested, I'm using the Tango 2 and I've got every button. Now, if for any reason you moved your throttle stick and one of these moved up here, this is when you start messing about here, right? Changing stuff here. Now, I don't want to go into that because 9 times out of 10 it won't, but if I remember, I'll leave a link to a Joshua Bardwell video where he covers this, right? Just, it's not that difficult, right? You're selecting your right stuff and changing these numbers round and things, but it's not that difficult. But I don't want to go into that here. What I am going to do is, so left stick, right, fully down and to the left, and if you see the throttle is reading 988, the yaw is reading 988, right? And if I now push the throttle stick to the top and to the right, it's reading 2011 on both of them, right? So 988, 2011, write them numbers down. Now moving on to the right stick, right, pushing the right stick all the way down and to the left. Here we go, 988, 988, and I'm reckoning 2011. That's pushing the right stick all the way to the right corner. So we're looking at 2011 and 988. Right? What you're trying to do is balance out the sticks so that they're perfect. Right? Now we want 988, 2011. You wrote them down because you're going to go into your command line now. Alright, sorry. Just grabbing the keyboard. Okay, right. So in this command line here, I want you to type, right, RX range. Alright, I'm not a great speller. RX range space 0. Space and then them numbers, which was 988 space 2011, 988 2011, and press enter. Alright, and type it again, RX range space, but this time 1. There is a quick way around this, but I don't want to confuse people. 1. And then again, 988 space 2011. 988 2011. Enter. And then again, RX range space 2. Okay. You see the pattern. 988. Whoa, back a bit. 988 2011. Enter. And the last time, RX range space 3. So we've done 0, 1, 2, and now we're just about to do 3. 988 space 2011. Enter and type the word save and click enter. Okay, now when we go back to the receiver tab, alright, what you've just done is balance out, or shall we say level out, your transmitter and the end points. Now if I go down with the throttle and the yaw, if I go down to the bottom left, it's on 1000, which is spot on. If I go to the top right, it's on 2000, which is spot on, because that's what you want. 1000 at the bottom, 2000 at the top. And with the other stick, if I go bottom left, we've got 1000 on both pitch and roll at the top. And if we go top right, we've got 2000. So that is spot on. And that's what that does. It's setting your end point so that they're spot on. Right? So when you start moving your sticks about, it's spot on. Right? The commands from your transmitter to the quad, once again, spot on. Here, as a new pilot, I recommend you don't touch these. Alright? But I'll give you a quick rundown. Right? It's how far on this one here, well, it's self-explanatory almost. Stick low threshold. It's how far you get to move your stick, right, before the propellers will start to spin, shall we say. That's not 50%. That's at like 0.050, I think, or 0.50. I can never remember which way. But I usually, some people have this down to about 20. I usually drop that to 30, and I find it quite comfortable there. Always leave this center stick on 1500. Never touch that. Alright, there is reasons to touch it, but you're not gonna need to do that as a new pilot, so I'll leave that there. Alright, on this side I like to boost this one up to now about 70 or 80. Sometimes not. Now we'll go to 80 this time. Alright, 1980. Right, this is how I like it, but as I said, as a brand new pilot, if I was you, I wouldn't touch it. These filters and audio and blah blah, you don't need to touch them, as long as your quad down here is doing everything it's supposed to do when you move your transmitter. You see, I'm moving my transmitter now, I'm not touching the quad. Right, I'm just leveling it up to show you. Right, I'm going to push forward on my transmitter, which is the right stick, and as you see, it's moving forward. I'm only touching the stick gently. I'm not going mental. I'm just touching the stick gently. Pull backwards. The picture's going backwards. Right, to the right. To the left. Right, just straighten up a bit. Your left. Your right. And throttle won't do a damn thing, which is a shame. You see, throttle, I think the Betaerflight should have the quad to go up or down in the picture. But you could see everything was doing what it's supposed to do perfectly. Right, so at this point we save, right, and it'll say up top there, save. Now we're going to move down to modes. Now what your modes are is what your transmitter does. Right, now the easiest way, I'll just turn that off a minute. The easiest way to set this up, right, is once you've selected, right, I'm setting that to auto. Right, now all I'm going to do is press, this is me arming, so I'll be arming the quad to get ready to take off. Right, so all I'm going to do is press on the transmitter the button I want to use, because I've set this to auto. So I'm going to press my arming button on the transmitter. Right, and that's jumped straight up there. See that little bar? It jumps straight up there. Right, and it has to be within this yellow mark. I mean, I can shrink that a little bit. Right, if it was the opposite way around, you could just slide that bar. Alright, but if I press my arm button now, it goes into there. This red disabled is, well, it's because it's plugged into Betaerflight. It don't want to fly off and take off. So, right, for brand new pilots, right, actually no, I'm not, don't use it. Start straight off in acro, but I'll show you a simple setting in your PIDs to get things going. Right, never ever in a million years touch horizon. Never. You never want to go through it. It's about time Betaerflight took that off. Right, as you scroll down through here, right, beeper, we're gonna want a beeper at some point when I figure it out. Add range. Right, and now I'm going to press my beeper button on my transmitter that I want to use, And if you watch this little bar here, again, the little one at the bottom, as I press the button I'll be using for my beeper, it's jumped all the way to the right. So now I'm going to slide this activation bar into it, just shrink it down a bit, make it look neat. You don't have to do that. And now when I turn my beeper off on my transmitter, it would be off. So it's only on when it's in that yellow bar. Okay, not that we've got a beeper yet. There's lots of things here, but I'm keeping this simple. Now remember air mode and what it does. I'm not going through it. If you won't listen in, tough. Right, it makes your propellers spin even when your throttle is not, even when your throttle is all the way down and off. Right, but it's something you'll use from time to time, something you might use all the time. But add range. Now I have this on a switch, a 3-position switch. Right, so that's the last position is at the end, the middle position's there, and the first position is off. So I'll move this bar here all the way to the end, because when it's in this position, as in position 1, because I'm using a 3-position switch now on my transmitter. Right, position 1, air mode is off. Position 2, air mode is on, and position 3, here air mode is on. So that's that done. Moving down, you could choose all these if you want, it's up to you. Crash flip mode, alright, I'll tell you in a minute. Alright, add range, I'm pressing the button on my transmitter I want to use for crash flip mode, which is that one. It selected it, so I'm going to move that bar into this area, just double check. Yeah, can make that bit smaller as well. Right, crash flip mode, I'm going to just leave a link in the description. It basically means if your quad's upside down, right, it'll flip up the right way around after you press a couple of buttons. I will leave a link in the description to another video I've made all about that. And my phone's ringing, so, and I'm back. You won't believe this. That was somebody actually asking me a question. It's somebody who I know. I don't give my phone number out, but somebody I know just rung up to ask me something about whatever. I said I'll ring them back. Yeah, so crash flip mode. If your quad's upside down, right, you're able to flip it back the right way. I never use it. Well, I do use it. If I'm stuck in a tree, it's great. You can flip your quad backwards and forwards. But if your quad crashes and it's a quarter of a mile away and you'll flip it the right way and fly back to you, if you've got a GoPro mounted on top, your GoPro might have fell off, and good luck trying to walk quarter of a mile and remember where you crashed. But anyway, I digress. Moving down, I think that's all I use actually. Yeah, I don't use anything else. Alright, so if we come back up here and hard unused, you're able to see just them 4. This is all I use. Alright, you got your arm, your beeper, your air mode, and your crash flip we've covered. Right, now I did say about the angle mode, and definitely not the eraser mode, but I did say about the angle mode. Alright, and not to use it, which makes your quad fly real, more like a phantom, real steady and stable-ish. Right, but it's not a great thing to learn on, really, because you pick up too many bad habits. I've used it in the past and I've realised I picked up too many bad habits. Right, now here anyhow, just click save. I can't remember if I saved, so keep saving all the time. Right, now at this point I'm going to unplug my quad, because there's no need to have the battery turned on anymore, and I'm going to turn my transmitter off because there's no need to have my transmitter on anymore. Just turn all that off. Right, so we'll cover quickly. Right, oh, I will have to plug the bloody battery back in again. Motors. Right, what you need to do here, right, just to test your motors, right, you plug your battery in. You won't see my quad, so I'm not even going to do it, but you plug your battery in, you hit this little switch here. Right, now you can see this is motor 1, This is motor 2, motor 3, and motor 4. And what you would do is these slider bars here, slide the bar up and make sure motor 1 is spinning. If it's not spinning the right way round, if it's spinning the wrong way to them arrows, like I said, you can do it in an ESC calibration, right? But the easiest thing to do is just cross them 2 wires over, which I mentioned in part 2. Right? And then you just go to motor 2, make sure that one's spinning, 3 and 4, make sure they're spinning. I'm not plugging a battery in to show you that, right, because I know mine are all spinning the right way, and you can't see my quad anyway, so it would be pointless. Right, any questions, just leave comments, right? I don't mind explaining stuff for new pilots and stuff. Right. We'll skip over the OSD quite quickly because it pretty much speaks for itself. Now, using the Caddx Vista, you won't get every single one of these to work, right? And in fact, I don't think the warning works at all. But I always leave the warning turned on just in case Caddx does an update and I miss it. Right, you won't need the timer on. In fact, actually, there's not a lot of these you will need on. Your battery voltage you won't need because that's in your goggles with the Caddx Vista. So we can turn the battery voltage off. Yeah, your current draw optional, but I'll just show you the main ones that I use. This side, first of all, I suppose, well, actually, no, you have to learn some up for yourself. Read it, right? There's plenty of information about this. You can read that yourself, right? It's basically, right, before you fly and after you fly, if you know what I mean, information you want. But what I set up, if I can, there it is, average cell voltage, you always want that. You always want the reason why there's 3 boxes is because you can choose 3 different sections, right? So you can flip through different not many people do, right? That's ideal for a plane, but we're dealing with a quad, right? Average cell, right? That's your best one in my opinion, so that when you're flying along, right, you keep a check on that. When it drops to 3.65, that's when you want to really think about heading back and landing. Okay, 3.65. Right, that's your better one. Okay, and the RSSI, if I can find it, you can't use home direction because even if you had a GPS, that does not work. Your satellites work, your latitude and longitude work, but I'm not setting up a GPS, so actually I'm not going to go through everything that does work and doesn't work. I've already told you the link quality don't work. Right, we're looking for RSSI. RSSI value we will want, and I'm just putting them there for now because when I've got the goggles on and everything turned on, I can move them about on here and see where they're going on the goggles. And that'll do actually, because in the goggles on the Caddx Vista, you've got a countdown timer, you've got your battery voltage, you've got a VTX voltage, you've got most of the stuff. You can add loads of this junk, right? But on an analog quad, as in not an HD one, I use a lot more stuff, right? But there's plenty of information, so that's why I said I'm just going to skip over that quick. We'll just save that. I will be making changes here, but I want you to figure stuff out yourself because you have to learn. It's the only way to learn, but that's pretty self-explanatory. Right, here you won't have to panic because it's a different sort of a setup, right? So you're using DJI goggles, you're using a Vista unit, you already know how to change your channel in your goggles. If you don't, look up DJI goggles, right, and you'll get the information there. Okay, now we're going to go back to the PIDs because and do a little bit of tuning. Before we do this, right, because I want to do this last, really, because I don't want to, because it can get complicated for some people. So we're going to go back to the configurations tab, and we're going to set up bi-directional D-shot. Now, I'm not going to go into that. All I'm going to say is it will make your quad fly better. I've got a full video about this, but I'll add it. I won't leave a link. I'll just talk you through it now. The first thing you have to do, right, is here, turn on bi-directional D-shot. Now this little box here, motor poles, they want to know how many magnets, if I remember I'll put a picture up now, how many magnets are running around one of your motors. Alright, now I'm going to just go double check that, because I think I've got it right at 14, but I'm just going to go count my magnets around one of my motors. Okay then, yes, I was right, 14 magnets. Like I said, just turn one of your motors upside down and count how many magnets it's got and put the number in there. It'll, for a 5-inch quad, it'll either be 14 or 12. It depends on your motors, it could be more, could be less, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to be 14 anyway. Okay, right, so you have turned bi-directional D-shot on. Right, you've added the number of motors, and now it's a case of click save and reboot. Just go back to the configurations and double check. Yeah, it's still on. Now you go into your PID tuning section, and you come up here to where it says filter settings. Scroll down, and you want this bottom section here. Okay, where if this happens to be turned off, turn it on. Alright, gyro, RPM filter, turn it on. Alright, but you're going to change some of these numbers now. The first number, right, you'll want that to be, if I remember, as a 1. Yeah, the first number wants to be a 1. And my bloody keyboard stopped working. Oh, what the hell is going on with my life today? I'll use my mouse then. Keyboard stopped working, it's died. The bloody keyboard needs a recharge. Right, keyboard's dead. Right, the second number down, right, you can leave at 100. Okay, moving down here, dynamic notch filters. Right, you want this first number to be on 0. Okay. The next number wants to be, it's on 120 now, it wants to be on 200 to the 250. Having to go by memory on some of this. What are you doing, Georgie boy? 250, not 150. Because I ain't got my keyboard. 250. Alright. Your next one down, right, your min hertz wants to be on 70. 70. Takes a lot longer when you haven't got a keyboard. And your last one, your max hertz, wants to be on 350. This will take ages to run down. I have to charge my bloody keyboard back up again. 350. Come on. We're getting there. Too far. Got carried away. 350. Alright. Now we'll actually notch filter in part set up your dynamic notch filter in. Alright. Click save. You'll forget. Trust me, you'll forget. And then just go back and double check. Alright. Now here, for smoothing out, right, before you do your flight, just change these slider bars up 1 point. You see here, 1.1 to 1.1. Right. Now, go fly. Right. Fly for say 45 seconds, a minute. Right. Land, touch your motors. If your motors are still cold or just a little bit warm, as in not hot, just cold or warm, but not hot. Right? You will be able to come back here again later on when you get home, right, and increase this a bit further. Right? And same again, fly for a little bit if your motors are still cold or just a bit warm. Basically, you can keep increasing this as long as your motors are cold. You will find, watch for the warning. If I go right up here, there you go. You got a warning message, a caution. You could have flyaways. Your quad just could take off and fly to the moon. Right? Some people have them set right up and they're okay. Me personally, right, I know I can get away with 1.2 and with these motors and stuff, and everything seems fine when I've used the motors before because they're not new motors. So I'm leaving that 1.2, but start first of all on 1.1. Both of them, both sliders at the same time. 1.1. Start there. In fact, because I'm using a different frame, it's a heavier frame and everything, so there's going to be more pressure. I'm going to start at 1.1. This will come in at 1, and we've added it to 1.1. Okay. Save. Now that's your bi-directional D-shot set up. Now I know you're all thinking, because you're brand new pilots, that's why you're watching this, what the hell does it do? Basically, it makes your quad fly a lot smoother, and for freestyle, so you're swooping and looping and things like that once you've got more experience, it makes your quad fly a lot better. Just about everybody now uses bi-directional D-shot. Just about everybody. It's one of them things that should have been invented years ago. So do it, set it up. And saying that, I should come back over here to the configurations tab. If your board is an F7 board, which mine is, you'll see that in the instructions it'll say F7, F4, F3, whatever. But for a 5-inch, try and get an F7 board, right? You'll have this, I think I covered this actually, this PID loop frequency on number 8 as it is. And if it's an F4 board, you'll probably need it on number 4. But I do remember now. I told you how to check that by going into the tasks, typing tasks in the command line. I'm not going to do it again. I just remembered, yeah, I did show you. Okay, now seeing that, I think there's only one more thing to do. Oh no, we've still got the PIDs. Right, which I can use. Now I've got no keyboard, right? But I need to see here, feed forward. Right, don't touch that there. Don't touch that there. I'm going to give you a command that you put into the command line, right, for your feed forward, which will help your quad fly a lot better. But I can't do that. Yeah, I've whacked me. You can't see, but I've just plugged in my keyboard, hoping to give it a bit of power, so when I finish with a PID tune, maybe it's got enough power just so I can talk you through the feed forward, because after the feed forward, that's pretty much it, and you're sorted and you can go out for a flight. But we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, right, let's talk about, oh yeah, we'll have to do this by hand as well. Let's talk about PIDs, shall we? So the easiest way to do this is your tune here, alright? Leave it as it is for your first flight. Don't touch it. This is how the quad's going to react. Now, with a lot of flight control boards nowadays, they've already got here a pretty good tune. In other words, it's going to fly pretty damn good. And now you've done that bi-directional D-shot, it's going to fly even better. Alright, so just try it before starting to worry about altering the P's and the D's. Like up here, look, the P, right, the I and the D, that's your PIDs, P-I-D. Alright. If you're interested, in fact, I'll leave a link, or if I remember now, I'll put a card up in the corner to a video I made about PIDs for beginners, what they basically do. Right, so I'll leave a card up. Alright, but just for your first flight, don't touch this. Just leave it exactly how it is. Alright, because a lot of boards, as I've said, do fly pretty damn good. Now, your rate profile, this is a different matter. This is how your quad is really going to react to stick movement. Alright, now trying to talk you through all this, and well, I'll tell you what, we'll make this simple, right? We'll start at the middle, your rates. We'll start here, right? Or used to be called super rates, it's changed now, but we'll start here. The bigger the number, the faster your quad will react. So on 70, as it is now, these three numbers, if you move your stick to the right, your quad will do a roll fast. Okay, it will flip fast. Alright, so what we do is, for position 1, rate profile 1 here, right, we can drop this to say 40. We'll drop all of them to 40. To 40. I will explain how you can set up changing these round in a moment. Now, this is a little bit of exponential. Now, that is how sensitive your stick is, basically. I found a good average, which happens to be, is to have this one to 40, 0.40. The bottom one I leave on 0. I don't touch the bottom one. Okay. Right, which is your yaw. Right. Oh, sorry. Ignore that. Yeah, ignore that. I don't know why I said that. I'm getting my numbers mixed up. It's this side I leave on stock. Right. Now over here, your rates. How can I explain this? I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to attempt to explain this simply for new pilots. I'm going to say it helps with stick management with your transmitter. And I found the best settings here to be 27. On the top two, 27. The bottom one, I don't touch. Okay, so 27. It helps with stick management. Alright. Save. Now you've saved that to rate profile 1. Now the 40 means when you move your stick, your quad will respond slowly and gently. It's not gonna flip and roll like a crazy person. Right? Now we'll go to rate profile up here. Look, we're gonna select number 2, and it's jumped back to the stock. Right? Now remember, this center one again is really how fast everything's going to react. So we started it on 40. So for number 2, we can increase it a bit so you can switch it up a bit for when you feel a bit more confident. We'll just move it up to say 55. Which means as well, if it's a bit windy, you've got a little bit more control because you can angle, whoa, wrong way, you can angle your quad a lot more because you've got more pitch, more roll, more yaw. Here I like to go 1.27 as before. These will be identical every single time, and this is just how I do it. And over here on the exponential I like to set 40 as I did before. Whoops. Bloody hell. Where's my keyboard? Just sing a song, read a book, do whatever you like while I'm doing it. Ah, bloody hell. I hate using the mouse for this. Come on. There you go, 40. Alright, so now we've done 55. That means it'll be more responsive. We've already covered that, and it's going to be the same next time. Right, save. And now up here, rate profile 3. Right, now this I will set, here we go again, to 127. Here, 127. Oh, perfect. On this side, we're going to do 40s. 1, 2, 3. And again, 40s. Hey, spot on. And last time, nah, too shy, but at least that was better. Now here, 70. Because this is the last one, and you see, you're going to set this to a 3-position switch, right? And this will be a more experty mode. So for me, I would recommend you setting this to maybe 60, right, as a new pilot. For me personally, I have this set to 80. Bloody hell. I have this set to 80 for my quads, right? And again, save. So now you've got 3 settings. You've got the 80, which is fast, and then you've got your 55, which is sort of like intermediate, you get in there. And then number 1, which is for like beginners, shall we say, but at the same time it's great for those long, slow, smooth flights and stuff, and just enjoying yourself. Okay, I will be changing this for myself, but this is what I recommend for you. Like I said, I shouldn't have actually put number 3 on 80. Please don't copy that. Please don't copy that. I shouldn't have done that. I should have put it on 60. Say 65. So for a new pilot, put that on 65. So don't copy that on rate profile 3. Okay. Now that's all you have to do on this bit. Alright, and we'll just move back over to here. We've covered this. For your very first flight, this is your stock. Don't make any adjustments. Like I said, I will leave a link in the video description, right, to a video I've made explaining basic PIDs, right? But there are literally thousands of videos on YouTube talking about PIDs, right? But for your very first flight, just try it. Okay, it might be as wobbly as hell and you hate it, and that's when you start to make fine adjustments. But as I said, nowadays flight control boards come with pretty good PIDs. Right, pretty good PIDs. Right, now remember we set up 3 different settings here, alright? 1 to 3. We need a way to change them. And for that we go into adjustments. But before we do that, back to modes. Alright. You need an empty switch, right? I use it on the same one as my air mode, right? This, don't forget, this is a switch. Now I use the same one. You can use a completely different switch if you want. If you don't want air mode, you can use a different switch. But I use this one, so it's up to you which one you use. So what you do is you go into adjustments and you turn it on, your first bar, and now select the one you're using, which like I said in my case is number 3. Drag this bar the full length because you want it to be working across the bar, as in literally across the bar, across the field, everywhere. Over here, select the same aux number as you have here because you're keeping it on the same switch. The reason why they have 2, I'm not going to go into detail, but I'll cover it. So you can flick one switch, right, and it turns this on, and then flick another switch and it gets things to change. Because in here you can set up a whole mess of different things. There's loads of different things you can change. I have also made a video about this. If I remember, I will leave a link in the description or pop up a card right now. Alright, but here what we are looking for is rate profile selection. Okay, and then click save. Alright, now go back to your PIDs Go back to your profile settings. Now, when I'll have to power up the quad again and power up the, well, I won't actually. Just pretend I've powered up the quad and I've powered up my transmitter. Now, when I flick that switch, these will change. So if I flick the switch to the middle, it will change to there automatically. If I flick the switch to position 3, it will change to there automatically. So you can be flying along in your first setting and you're getting used to it. In fact, you think it's a bit too slow, you can flick your switch to the middle position and it will jump to that second profile. Flick your switch to the third position, and so on and so on. And as you see, depending on your switches and your transmitters and stuff, but we're keeping this simple. Most people just use this as a 3-position switch anyway. And there's only one thing left, right? And I don't know if my keyboard's working yet. Let's check the keyboard, see if the keyboard's working. Can we get any power to the keyboard? We'll soon find out. Your feed forward will go into the command line. Hang on, I just have to move my keyboard. There you go. Right, go into the command line. Oh, the keyboard's powered. We've got a bit of power. Is it working? Hang on, bear with me. Bloody things. Right. Yeah, I think we've got... Oh, what the hell's that? Don't ask. Don't ask, I've no idea. I've no idea what that pop-up was. Right. Command line. You want to type in set space FF underscore... Oh, that's lucky. Oh, a little shortcut. There you go. FF underscore. And you're looking here, interpolate underscore SP. Click on that. Right. Equals. And there you go. That was lucky. I hardly needed my keyboard. I can put my bloody keyboard down now. Right. Now, equals 2. Right. There you go. I'll make this simple. I'm gonna pick 3 things off the top of my head. Equals 2 would be for like races. Equals 3 would be for freestyle. Right, gentle flying freestyle. Right, average 4. Right, is for like whooping about, getting the cinematic shots. Okay, there you go then. Right, racing, freestyle, cinematic, whooping shots. Alright, so you want, for a 5-inch quad that you're flying freestyle, you want number 3. Average 3. Okay, I have to get my bloody keyboard again, I forgot. Yeah. And then click enter and type the word save. Oh, the times I've gone through stuff and forgot to type save. And then enter. And I'm done. Now that will help your quad fly, because I know someone's going to wonder, that will help your quad fly a lot smoother in your freestyle. Putting it simply, it helps balance everything out. There you go. Alright, and helps smooth things out for your freestyle. But yeah, just type in what I showed you, set space FF underscore, and then it popped up, and you want that interpolate SP, and then just equals, and then averaged, and you want number 3, right, for this particular quad. If you was doing this for argument's sake with like a cine whoop or something, then you'd put number 4, and for a racer you number 2 on it. Okay then, I think we've got to the end. I think you're ready to go rip, everybody. Alright, now I will... Oh, battery, we did not... Actually, leave that as stock, right? You're not going to be messing about with your batteries, right? And you can watch that in other videos. You're not going to need to touch that, all right? So yeah, I believe I've covered everything. Any questions, please feel free to drop me an email. My email's on my my homepage in my About tab. I get quite a few emails, because I think a lot of people, which you shouldn't be, I think a lot of people, newer pilots, get embarrassed to leave a comment because they're worried it's such a simple yes or no answer. So they send me an email, and sometimes it is a simple yes or no answer. But don't be embarrassed. Everybody has to learn. I mean, I said at the beginning of this, I'm not going to go through every single little detail of Betaerflight because it'd take about 15 odd hours. And I also said, not to mention, I still don't understand every single bit. There are things in here on Betaerflight which are so confusing. However, everyone learns at their own pace. Hopefully, this set of 3 videos is great for a brand new pilot, because I've tried to put as much detail in as possible from part 1, part 2 and this one to get you in the air. That's why I've tried not to do any jump shots, and any mistakes I've left them in and showed you how I got round them and things like that. I've aimed this particular little playlist of 3 videos, and only 3 videos, for a brand new pilot, or someone who's just getting into the hobby. So I hope this helps, and you will be my next videos will be back to normal length, 20 minutes or whatever and stuff. But I will leave links and cards and everything to what I've mentioned. And if you liked, please subscribe and leave us a thumbs up. But I'm going to leave it there, pilots and ground crew. And shall we say, normal viewing will return shortly. Okay then, thanks for watching. Hope this helps you new pilots, and cheers.